The U.S. Supreme Court has played a major role in shaping Native American rights, sometimes upholding tribal sovereignty and other times weakening it. With recent rulings impacting everything from tribal jurisdiction to land rights, many wonder, is the court protecting Native sovereignty, or is it systematically dismantling Indigenous rights? Historically, the Supreme Court has been a double-edged sword for Native Americans. In 1832, Worcester v. Georgia reaffirmed tribal sovereignty, declaring that states had no right to interfere with native lands. However, in 1955, Tehit-Tun Indians of the United States ruled that tribes were not entitled to compensation for land taken by the federal government, reinforcing the idea that indigenous land was subject to U.S. control. Recent decisions have continued this pattern of inconsistency. In McGirt v. Oklahoma, 2020, the court ruled that much of eastern Oklahoma remains tribal land, a huge victory for Native sovereignty. Justice Neil Gorsuch wrote, "We hold the government to its word." However, just 2 years later, Oklahoma Fifth Castro-Huerta weakened tribal authority by allowing state prosecution of crimes on reservations, a decision that many Native leaders saw as a direct attack on their legal independence. One of the biggest ongoing threats to Native rights is the court's willingness to reconsider long-standing treaties. Many tribes fear that future rulings could erode federal obligations, limiting tribal jurisdiction over land, water, and governance. As Cherokee Principal Chief Chuck Hoskin Jr. stated, "Each Supreme Court decision has the power to either strengthen our sovereignty or strip it away." Critics argue that the court's conservative majority leans toward weakening Native rights in favor of state control and corporate interests. Cases involving tribal gaming, natural resource rights, and child welfare laws continue to challenge the balance between federal power and indigenous sovereignty. The fate of the Indian Child Welfare Act, ICWA, designed to keep Native children within their communities, is one example of how the court's rulings could reshape Native futures. So, is the Supreme Court protecting or destroying Native American rights? The answer depends on the case, the justices, and the shifting politics of the legal system. The real question is, will the court uphold the promises made to Native nations, or will it continue the long history of broken agreements? What do you think? Let's continue the conversation.